Hi everybody, today we're going to bring you our top 5 ball pythons from the Tinley Park NARBC October show. The rules and criteria that I'm going to be picking for this top 5 are pretty simple. I'm picking what I liked, what was visually appealing, and then maybe even mixed in there with what I could think it can do in the future. At number 5, from Chris Herman's Reptiles, we have El Diablo. That's its name. That's not a morph. With that said, it's a little bit of a mystery. At the very least, El Diablo is Super Orange Dream, Calico, and Yellow Belly. But he's really got to be something else as well. Talking to Chris, he said he thought it was Barnhart line Black Pastel, but it didn't really prove out unless he got really bad odds. It could be some other pets that could be throwing off the pattern a little, because that's an adult, and that's what he still looks like. It's incredible the way that the Orange Dream, the Super Orange Dream for that matter, the Calico, the way that they interact with each other creates an almost very close to white-sided snakes with pattern on the bottom and surrounding these white patterns. Again, I say it every single video it seems, but I love contrast. If that got cleaned up a little and that didn't have that granulation in the white and it was just a stark white surrounded by the oranges and the fading oranges and the blacks, that would be absolutely incredible. If ever you were able to get Desert Ghost into something like this, for example, I mean, that would be outstanding. That would, I don't even know. I mean, all I can do is imagine that would clean up a little bit of granulation in the whites and make them more stark white and just enhance everything insanely. At number 4, from Brad Boas, the Sunset Pied. I don't know why, but a lot of the Sunset Pieds I have seen, which hasn't been a ton, but they all seem to be very high pattern and low white. I like this one quite a bit because it does have a lot more white to it. Still very high pattern, which I like, probably more high pattern, but it needs to have those whites on the pied, I believe, to make it really stand out. And there's plenty of peaking on here. You can see near the belly, kind of just comes up and scooches almost in waves. You've got the peaks that you normally get, you know, and quite a bit of pieds as well, but then you do have a straight stark white band around the lower half of the snake. I do enjoy more pattern than white probably, but there still needs to be maybe a 75 to 25% ratio at least, in my opinion. But I mean, pieds are pieds. They're gonna do the randomness that they do. This particular Sunset Pied is the best one I've seen just because it has more of those whites. I just see a lot that can be done with stuff like this. I immediately think, I mean, I said it before, but Desert Ghost. What could Desert Ghost do to the coloring of a sunset? Maybe put some pattern, work with some genes that are known to take pattern out of a pied a little bit. Who knows what you'd end up getting, but it doesn't matter. This particular specimen is absolutely stunning. Coming in at number 3, I'm doing it again, 2 snakes from Canova. In no particular order for number 3, we have a Fire, Yellow Belly, GHI Spot-Nosed Clown. This one gets me really excited because I have a GHI Spot-Nosed Clown. To think that Fire and Yellow Belly could change my snake to this snake, it's incredible. I mean, I know that Fire is an enhancing gene, and I know that Yellow Belly brings in some of those yellows and flaming and such. GHI is gonna bust up that pattern too and leave all those granulations and just do what it does. I think that's why I love it so much. It is definitely the GHI that sets this up for success. It is intense, it is amazing. The yellows pop, the contrast is there. You've got the black markering around the yellow as well, and the yellow is clean. And again, contrast isn't just color, but it can be other things too. And it can be that. It can be that clean yellow, black border to separate the two with the orange and the pixelation. It makes it stand out. It's an incredible snake. Also at number 3 is a Black Pastel GHI Yellow Belly Red Stripe Clown. So this is 2 GHIs now. GHI is so unique, and just seeing the differences you can get with GHI clowns between this snake and the snake next to it, they're very different, but they're both unbelievably incredible. I don't know what he's calling this particular morph, but I want to call it the One Ring or the Sauron, because this looks like the writing around the One Ring in the Lord of the Rings. Each one is like its own little language, its own little hieroglyph. The dark brownish color that perfectly fades to the more slightly bleached brownish white to the darker brown on the top, and it's not like it's a nice beautiful brown with the orange, granulated orange in there. Again, this is actually one where if you had Desert Ghost, maybe it would brighten up those oranges and it really would look like the One Ring. Sauron here is an absolutely outstanding example of a snake. They do very different things, but it is still amazing to sit back and think sometimes that just 2 genes swapped out can create such a massive difference in a snake. The yellow belly brought yellows along with the fire to the last snake. The yellow belly here brings up that flaming. brings up that contrast and that slightly bleached side. The red stripe really adds those rustic reds to it, and I think they do a lot for the pattern on the snake. At number 2 is a Banana Sunset Monsoon. Or is it? No, this is not a monsoon. From Captive Bred Specialties, we have a Banana Leopard Butter Sunset 50% het pied. And I gotta believe that the het pied's in there, because what is causing this thing to explode like this? It looks exactly like what I would think maybe a fire sunset monsoon would look like. But it doesn't look like what it's supposed to look like, in my opinion, and they feel the same way. I don't know what's causing that. Your guess is as good as mine, but it doesn't really matter because the snake itself is absolutely golden. It is amazing. I am a little speechless, honestly, even seeing it again, but in person it was just nuts. This was on setup night where we got this footage. Right away I was like, yep, that's going in the video. And how couldn't it? It's insane. I would love to see what happens further with this, because if Sunset interacts with those genes like this, wow, it changes a lot for Sunset. Before I get to the number 1, I wanted to do some honorable mentions that could have also very easily been on this list, and some of them even at number 1. First, I want to call out not necessarily a snake, but a new gene I saw, which could have a decent amount of potential into it, and that would be the cantaloupe. I really like the pop of the flaming on the sides to the very nice black border lines and the incredibly bright yellows. I think it has a lot of potential to do something special. It's really beautiful, so I'd like to see more of it in more stuff, but it's a newer gene, so that'll come with time. From Kittinger Reptiles, Jason brought these 2 beautiful specimens for us to see, and that would be an Acid Fire Spot Nose Yellow Belly, possible red stripe clown. The Acid Spot Nose clown was actually on our list for the Schaumburg show, so this one here adds fire and yellow belly, and it could possibly be red stripe, and you can see the difference here, what it does to the snake, and it's an incredible enhancement. And that was already on our list from the last one, so this one is an upgrade. Another one here would be the Spot Nose Russo Fire Yellow Belly Clown. Again, possible red stripe. I think red stripe's in this one. I think the Russo here is making a big impression. Russo by itself does not really do anything. It's kind of an enhancing gene, but I think Russo is heavily underappreciated. I have Russo in my collection in a few of my snakes. I see a major difference. I have a killer clown Russo, and it looks a lot better than a normal killer clown. They usually brown out a lot more. Super pastels probably do it a little bit less, but they still kind of do. She's held her colors pretty darn well. She's outstanding, and that's the Russo. But I really like the jumbled up and nuts pattern. Honestly, both these snakes have that for different reasons though, but they both have different crazy patterns. The Russo here is making a little bit more thicker pattern, but still nuts and blown up. The Acid is just, if it was white and black, it would look like a Dalmatian. They're both amazing snakes. Easily could have been on anyone's list. And finally, at number 1 is a snake we actually already talked about right before Tinley, and that would be the Special Pompeii from JSA Reptiles. Just look at the peachy oranges that make up the main body of this snake. I don't know how else to describe this other than stunning. It's something that hasn't been done before. It's a world's first, obviously. And then taking it out of the case to show us, thank you, by the way, because this was probably the best snake at the show, if not amongst them at the very least. It popped even more. It's insane. Between the face pattern, the writing on the sides. I mean, it looks like, again, like language in some sorts. It erupts in color at you. It erupts in pattern, and it erupts in beauty. He gave me a hint of a name that he was thinking of, but you know, just in case, I don't want to say it, because if he decides to name it and say, hey, welcome to this, I don't want to spoil that for him. That's his, but I liked the name that he came up with for this morph. I hope you enjoyed. Did you see any other snakes that you thought were awesome? Let us know in the comments below. If I missed something, I want to know about it. If you like this video, please consider checking out our compilations around Tinley Park. We have a shorter, abridged compilation that's around 10 minutes long. You can check that out right here. Or you can check out what we call the unedited, edited version of the entire walkthrough of the show. It's about 2 hours or so, and you can see that one right here.